I also just think too, man, like I actually think that Bolton's injury in 2023 really hurts him. Because if you're the Chiefs, you've seen what life is like without Nick Bolton.
For sure.
You haven't seen what the secondary is like without Justin Reid.
That's true.
I think that matters.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank. If you're thinking about starting a business or know someone who is, check out Emprise Bank's SBA loans. It's always good to know your options, and they can be your partner in possible.
It's That Football Show here on KC Sports Network. Tucker Franklin hanging out with another in-person edition of That Football Show.
That's right.
We did it again. We found each other at the NFL Scouting Combine. Last one was at the Super Bowl.
Yep.
It only takes us, Matt, to go out of both cities that we live in for us to get together, because it seems like every time you come to Kansas City, I'm getting flat tires or
It's not good.
I'm getting sick. But when I come out of town, that's when the magic happens.
Yeah, well, we're in Indianapolis where I've eaten enough to basically bring down a village. I think that the rum and cokes have taken their toll at this point.
Yep.
Sports Illustrated might have to have like a team doctor travel with us going forward. Mostly just for me.
You might need to go through the medical exams that the players are going through just to make sure that.
Yeah, sir.
How are you alive?
Hours at this point, not days.
It would be a medical mystery.
So we strongly advise you stop. Please stop. Yeah, no, it's fun though. I'm here till Friday. Got here Friday.
Yeah, I think that's when we're going to leave too. We got the players talking. It started actually today when we're recording this podcast. Obviously, you guys are listening to it. The Magic of Time Travel, the Magic Podcast. You're listening to this after we record it, obviously, but you're hearing it on Thursday. We're recording this on Wednesday afternoon. Players started talking on Wednesday. They'll go all the way to, I think, Saturday's the last day, but I mean, we're not going to stay till Saturday because that is a long time to be in one
Nobody
place.
needs that. Nobody needs that.
Long time to be in one place. So on-field workouts start tomorrow on Thursday. When you're listening to this podcast today, on-field workouts start. We did get to hear from Brett Veach and Andy Reid first time since the Super Bowl. Let's start there. Let's start there with our conversation, as we will have some other things to talk about too with the NFLPA report cards coming out as well. Some interesting nuggets to take away from there. But let's start with the press conferences that we heard from Brett Veach and Andy Reid. I thought it was really interesting. Kind of the first thing. Let's talk about Travis Kelce, because I thought the tone, maybe not tone was right. I thought the messaging from Andy Reid and Brett Veach was a little bit different with Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Where Brett Veach seemed a little bit more definitive in what he was saying about Travis Kelce returning, and Andy Reid was more like, we'll figure it. We'll have another talk.
I think that was as indicative of the two personalities as humanly possible. Andy was basically like, "Who's Kelce? Who is that?" I know who that. Where Brett was like, "Yeah, of course he's playing." Yeah, like Brett basically treated it like it was like if you asked if Patrick Mahomes was playing. Whereas Andy was much more like, "Yeah, we talked, told him, get out of here, get these guys some rest." I think it's pretty clear he's going to play.
Yeah.
I mean, unless Brett's getting some bad information from his own
bad
team.
intel.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's probably got a pretty good line into Travis Kelce.
Right.
Look, I think he's going to play, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think Brett went on the radio after that.
Yeah.
96.5 and talked about that they're comfortable bringing Travis back at the number that he's at, so that they're not going to look to change the cap number, which would tell me that then they're pretty comfortable with creating cap space other ways, which is probably Mahomes' contract. Right. I mean, Brett didn't say that, to be clear, but it doesn't take
read between the lines. Yeah.
To look and kind of figure that out. And then, he also talked about, and he did a lot of reviews, but he talked about the fact that Bolton and Smith are rep by the same agency. So
interesting. I didn't know that.
He's got, if he has a conversation about one, it's very easy to have a conversation about both.
Yeah.
Said both are priorities. At the presser, he mentioned that Trey Smith was the top priority.
Correct.
Said that essentially that they're very optimistic. So, I mean, I'm not surprised. People, I love these people nationally, and I'm crapping on myself in this case because I'm national. Like these people who are just like, man, watch that Super Bowl. They couldn't block. That offensive line sucked. But, can't pay Trey Smith. What now? Like, how is that congruent? How are those two things the same take from the same price? So I'm not surprised. I think the big question is, do they pay him and a left tackle?
Yeah, that's going to be a really interesting one. And I know that I believe our own KCSN's Herbie Teope asked Andy Reid about, hey, do you think that guy who's going to play left tackle for you is on the roster already? And, Andy Reid, and very much Andy Reid said, nah, I don't know.
Wasn't a ringing endorsement.
Yeah. Well, no, it's too early to tell. Yeah. I think if he was on the roster, you'd know.
Yeah.
So it sounds like they might be in the market for a left tackle elsewhere. Look, Nate Taylor's done some good reporting on. He had a really good conversation with DJ Humphries during Super Bowl week about, look, DJ Humphries wants to come back. He wants to come back. He wants to have that full offseason where he is, quote unquote, healthy, right? Where he's not rehabbing from an ACL injury to kind of prove himself here. I don't know if I'd necessarily be opposed to that, just to have an option where you could say, okay, here's your floor.
Yeah.
Here's where your floor is with DJ Humphries. What do you think about the left tackle situation?
I mean, I think if you bring in DJ Humphries, you have to draft a guy to go with him.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's the problem. Like, the only thing Andy said of any note in that entire press conference was he thought it was a defensive-centric draft. Yeah. And then Brett said the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, if you guys think it's a defensive-centric draft, you can take a left tackle at 31, right? I mean, makes you think, like, edge or maybe D-tackle if they lose Wharton. Maybe they go to the corner, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, and then you look at some of these, and now look, I'm going to preface this by saying these are mock drafts, and let's remember they're mock drafts. But a lot of the big ones lately that have come out, there are no receivers early, except for McMillan in some cases out of Arizona, and he's it. Like, you look around, like Luther Burden, who of course a lot of our listeners are familiar with.
Oh yeah,
he's not in the first round in a lot of these.
Shocking, truthfully.
It is shocking. So it's like if he's at 31, the Chiefs just be like, yeah, all right. Sure, why not? Yeah, we've hit on a couple of receivers in recent years.
Yeah.
I just think the big fallacy is this mentality that the Chiefs do not have the money to sign Trey Smith and a left tackle.
Right, yeah.
They do. They have the money to do it. Now, look, that would hinder them in other places. Maybe they can't bring back Nick Bolton. Maybe they can't bring back a Justin Reed. There's a lot of different ways to look at it. But the point being, this idea that they just can't figure out a way to bring in, like, Trey Smith and Cam Robinson is just incorrect. Like, they could definitely do that. It's just a question of whether or not they want to allocate the resources that way.
100%. And here's the thing I think the Chiefs fans need to realize is there's not a 100% true fix to left tackle. I don't think in this free agency, and I don't honestly think in this draft. I don't think that there's a 100% left tackle fix, and there's not going to be a 100% perfect left tackle prospect or 100% perfect left tackle free agent, just because those players aren't falling to 31, and they're not going to be free agents for very long in the price range. So what I do think is you got to think about what these players can do at the price that you're getting them for. Like Cam Robinson, is he a perfect fit? Or is he perfect for what the Chiefs exactly want? Maybe not.
No, he's not. But that guy, as you pointed out, doesn't exist.
Correct. Yes.
Like, they're not going to get to market and go, wow, you know what? Willie Roaf's out here. Like, it's not, I mean, current day Willie Roaf, maybe.
Yeah.
But that's what, know. I mean, you're not going to get to market and find an all-pro left tackle who, Penny Sewell's just sitting there. Like,
correct.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So Cam Robinson, if I had to rank left tackles, he's probably, I don't know, 12th, 14th. Like,
yeah.
All right. It's better than Joe Tooney playing left tackle.
Right, yeah.
Guy did the best he could, but he's an all-pro guard. He's not a tackle.
For sure.
It sure as hell beats. I mean, I got to tell you, not to discredit the man, I don't think Wanya Morris or Kingsley Suamataia would be cracking the top 15. So if you're the Chiefs, that's what you're playing it against. It's not, we got to get a guy who's as good as Deion Dawkins.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get that guy.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to get a guy who, that when you go into a game, you're like, all right, we don't have to worry about this guy. We don't have to slide protection over there all the time. We don't have to constantly think about helping him. If they do that, if they can figure that out, it's a win.
So I think that's the disconnect sometimes when we talk about like these free agents and these prospects. Is like there's not going to be a total 100% catch-all fix.
Right.
And I think that might be a disconnect just in general in terms of just like free agency conversations.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, I do think that a lot of the attention in this free agency, Matt, we've talked about this, is going to be on the offensive side of the ball. They're going to need some wide receivers because they got 4 guys and 2 guys that have really played actual real football snaps on their roster. The running back room is, dare I say, atrocious. It
is elderly.
It's a geriatric unit.
Yes.
Is what it is.
Soon, there's about a 50% chance you went in the Chiefs running back room right now. Somebody's calling out bingo numbers. Okay. I mean, Pacheco is by far the young guy, and Pacheco, when he came back from the injury last year, let's call it what it was. He was not good.
Right.
He could not move. He could not run. Does that change with an offseason? I don't know. But even if it does, he's got 1 year left in his deal.
Yeah.
They're not going to pay him big money.
Right.
There's no way that's happening. So, like, you need to start figuring that out now, not a year from now. And, like, you can't go into the year where it's Kareem Hunt and Samaje Perine getting, whatever it is, 20 touches a game.
Yeah.
You just can't. There's no explosiveness. There's no speed. That's the way it is.
The offensive side is going to be really interesting to see how they do approach this on the free agency market. But as you mentioned, those guys at the podium talked about it being a very defensive-heavy draft. And look, we're in Indy, and we've been making the rounds. We've been talking to people, and you know who hasn't come up a whole lot is Nick Bolton.
No, he's not.
Are you shocked? Maybe I should phrase it this way. Are you shocked that there hasn't been any conversations about Nick Bolton?
A little bit. I was saying this on the radio earlier today. Like, I feel like doing what I do, like I have a pretty good idea of a guy's market most years. Look, there's always 2 or 3 guys you're like, wow, like, my God, like I can't believe somebody paid that guy that much money. Nick Bolton could sign almost any contract, and I'd believe it.
Yeah.
If you told me that Nick Bolton got 2 and 24, I'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
If you told me he got 3 and 22, okay. If you got 4 and 70, but yeah, some team just watched Super Bowl 57. I was like, great, Fred Warner.
Wow. Yeah.
Like, I mean, who knows? Like, we talked about this before, but the gulf at that position in payment is just astronomical. Roquan Smith's number 1 overall value at $100 million for an inside linebacker. Mm-hmm. Fred Warner's number 2 at 95.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do this off the top of my head. Tremaine Edmonds is 3rd, 4 years, $72 million with the Bears.
Yep.
4th is Patrick Queen at $41 million.
Yep.
It's just like, so where does he fit in? Like, is he in the middle of Queen and Edmonds? Is he seen more as Queen? Like, I would argue he's basically Patrick Queen.
Yeah.
Which, if you factor in inflation or anything else in the cap, does that mean 3 and 45? Like, if I'm the Chiefs, I got to be honest, I'm not paying him 3 and 45.
Right.
I'm not. Like, I'd pay him, but it would, if I'm Brett Veach, like, it's my price. Trey Smith means more to me. I'll be honest with you. Deshaun Wharton means more to me because he can get to the quarterback.
Yeah.
I would make the argument Justin Reed means more to me.
Yeah.
I mean, they could go out and sign. First of all, they could draft a guy, but they could sign Willie Gay for 1 year and $3 million.
Talk about an athletic linebacker room, by the way.
I was going to say, my God, man, you could cover the ocean with those 3 guys. Okay? You know, if you want a guy who's more of what Bolton is, like a downhill, not a coverage guy, but a good – how about Robert Spillane?
Yeah.
You know, who's going to cost you – if Bolton gets a ton of money, he'd cost you a lot less. I think he might be like a 2 and 20 guy. I mean, for those who are like, who the hell is Robert Spillane? So Spillane played the last 2 years on the Raiders. You have to play with the Titans and mostly Pittsburgh. His numbers the last 2 years, 148 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 4 quarterback hits, 3 interceptions, 4 passes defense, 3.5 sacks. 2024, 2 sacks, 7 passes defense, 2 picks, 158 tackles, 10 tackles for loss. Like, it's kind of like Drew Tranquil numbers when he was with the Chargers.
Yeah.
Same type. So it's like, if Nick Bolton comes in and goes, I want 3 and 30, okay. Done. He comes in, he's like, yeah, Tremaine Edmonds, big, great. Have fun.
See you later.
Have fun, man. Good luck to you. Like, I mean, there's just no way. The Chiefs can't pay him that amount of money, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting conversation to have. I don't necessarily want to pit the 2 players against each other, right, when it comes to Justin Reed and Nick Bolton, but both are pretty key, essential pieces to the Steve Spagnuolo defense in terms of just what Spags likes to have. Spags likes to have that middle linebacker coach on the field. He likes to also have that chess piece safety as well. When you talk about Tyrann Mathieu, you talk about, Justin Reed, and, I think that's eventually going to be Jaden Hicks. Jaden Hicks. Yep. I think that's who it's going to be. But I still think they might be having this year might be tough if they don't pay Justin Reed, right? I don't know if Hicks is 100% ready for that, but we'll have to see.
All right. So I'm going to try to do this in a focused way and go galaxy brain with this. Because I think Brett thinks. If you don't sign Nick Bolton,
right,
there's a good chance that you're going to slide Tranquil over. And he's going to be your middle backer with the dot.
Right.
He did that the first half of 2023?
Uh-huh.
Because Bolton got hurt. Got hurt in that Jacksonville game, if memory serves.
Right.
Week 2.
Yep.
they didn't skip a beat.
Nope.
Like, they were fine. And by the way, that year when Bolton went down, the other two linebackers were Willie Gay and Leo Chenal. Okay?
Yeah.
And they were fine.
Yeah.
They were really good with those three guys on the field. And then Bolton came back, and Chenal kind of saw a decrease. Not kind of. He did see a decrease. At safety, if you're Brett Veach, do you want to sign Justin Reed long-term or Brian Cook? That is, and the other part of that equation is, can Brian Cook and Jaden Hicks play together? Or are they redundant? Because if they're redundant, then you're not going to pay Brian Cook.
Yeah.
Then why the hell wouldn't you just pay Justin Reed?
Yeah.
Like, I think there's a lot of moving parts to all this. Like, it's not as simple as just dollars and cents. Like, are you going to keep Brian Cook? And do you think you can play with Jaden Hicks? Because if you do that, then you're not going to keep Justin Reed.
Right.
If you think Justin Reed is a better fit next to Jaden Hicks and you'd rather pay $3 and $40 to Justin Reed, okay, then that's probably what I would do. I also just think, too, man, like, I actually think that Bolton's injury in 2023 really hurts him. Because if you're the Chiefs, you've seen what life is like without Nick Bolton.
For sure.
You haven't seen what the secondary is like without Justin Reed.
That's true.
I think it matters. I do. I think it matters.
I think the price point for Justin Reed is going to be interesting. But I do think that I would much rather pay Justin Reed than I would pay Brian Cook. I think what we've seen in the body of work of Brian Cook, nothing against the man, right? Like, I don't know if I've seen anything that would make me feel comfortable with a long-term deal with Brian Cook.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Brian Cook is a good player, but I also feel like Brian Cook is a player you can find.
Exactly. Yes.
I think he's easier to find than Justin Reed is.
Yes.
Justin Reed, I think, other than Chris Jones, is the leader of the defense. And
100%.
I mean, I think, too, like, here's the other part of this. So, like, if you look at Justin Reed is younger than you would think. Even though
he really is.
He's been in the league for 7 years. He just turned 28.
Yeah.
He just turned 28 years old. So, like, then you go over and you look at Brian Cook because you're like, oh, he's got to be so much younger. And he is younger, but he turns 26 before the season starts. So it's like it's a 2-year difference. It's not maybe the 4-year difference you might think it is. Like, so basically the question becomes, okay, so if you sign Brian Cook to an extension, you're paying for years like 27, 28, 29. With Reed, you're paying for 28, 29, 30.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
I mean, so I like Brian Cook.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jaden Hicks is a lot more Brian Cook than he is Justin Reed.
Okay.
So, I mean, I would, if I were the Chiefs, I'd pay Reed and I'd pay Wharton.
Yeah.
I'd draft an edge. I would just re-sign Willie Gay for 1 year, $3 million because they loved him when he was there. Well, you know, or if you don't want to do that, you want to draft the linebacker, fine. Draft the linebacker in the third round. Like, that's what I would do.
Chris Paul, over one of those guys here, I think they changed his nameplate to Pooh Paul because that was a childhood nickname of his, so it's gone official on the nameplates. P-O-O-H.
Pooh Paul.
He was good at the East-West Shrine Bowl. We got a chance to sit down and talk with him. So if he is the Kansas City Chief, we'll have an interview with him. And you'll get to hear interviews with guys like that on the KCSN Draft Show coming out on Mondays now as we get into our draft season schedule. Hey, we got ourselves a little programming announcement, too, with our show as well.
We do.
We will be moving to 2 times a week. So before the break, hit you with a little bit of breaking news 2 times a week for us here. I think the plan is to go during the off season. We're going to be going Wednesdays and Saturdays is when those podcasts are going to be hitting your feet. That's the plan as of right now, but 2 times a week for you as we wind up here to a very good season. And look, we would only be going 2 times a week because of the people watching this podcast.
Yeah. So either you're welcome or we're sorry. BJ's made a terrible business decision, but he is expanding to twice a week. Yes. We will be here. And look, as you know, if you watch this show or you listen to this show, God only knows in the middle of June on a Saturday what's going to come up.
That's a great point.
You know, speaking of all that, we can, I guess, out of the break, we can get to the Kansas City Chiefs report card. The NFLPA released a report card for all 32 teams today. The Chiefs, I think it's fair to say, work to be done.
I think that's a great tease.
Work to be done.
A great tease. Let's take that break, and on the other side, we will talk about the Chiefs report card and the rest of the report cards around the NFL too, because I do think that there are some very interesting nuggets in the report from the NFLPA. We'll take a break. Catch you on the other side.
Shop Chiefs tickets and more with no fees. Plus, save big with code KCSN at ticketsforless.com, the official ticket provider of KC Sports Network.
Welcome back into Indianapolis, Indiana. Tucker Franklin, Matt Verderame hanging out with you here at we're at the convention center right now, Media Row, here at the 2025 NFL Scouting Combine, taking it all in here as they got a little bit of a different orientation this year of the tables. It was
true.
A lot more lateral than in years past. It's been more horizontal. Wait, I guess it depends on. Well, whatever.
You know what the problem is? There's too many damn people. Okay.
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
This is my 6th combine, I believe, and
to
sound like the elderly. Okay, nothing against the elderly, but you drive slow. Look, like the worst part about the setup is this used to be we're in a convention center.
Yes.
And the room's essentially split in half, long ways by a curtain, a row of curtains.
Yep.
And on one side is media row, and on the other side is all the pressers and some of the bigger setups, kind of like the Super Bowl, but just a much smaller scaled down version.
Yes.
When I first started coming here, this side of the curtain was like weightlifting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you'd be in the middle of talking to somebody, and you'd literally just hear like, "One more, come on!" And just some guy like tearing his pec, lifting up 380 pounds, 28 times. Oh,
yeah.
Now, of course, that's been moved. That's no longer the case.
They don't let people see it anymore.
I remember the year, and I mean, somebody can look some 2 seconds. I'm too lazy to do it. But like when Kyler Murray was coming out,
yeah,
I was here that year. That was one of the first ones I was ever at, and they were going to do the height weight measurement.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember they took him behind, like, so you couldn't see him getting measured. And they came out like 6 feet. And I was like, how big was the box that he was standing on? Like, he just walked by me. I'm 6'2". There is no way that dude is 6 feet.
Yeah.
Unless I grew 6 inches while I was at the hotel. Okay, and I'm now ready to play in the NBA. It was ridiculous. But in any event, yeah, the media row thing is the last, I don't know, maybe 3 years, something like that, and it's grown. Like now they have like these huge setups on the other side of the curtain. And there's a little bit of me that's like, look, is this like the CBS Sports have to have a setup the size of Montana?
It is huge. CBS Sports is massive.
What are we doing here? Like, put a couch over there,
right,
and just be like, hey, listen. Come on, sit down. It's not that comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a lumpy couch, but it's fun.
Right.
Which, to segue like a professional would, is essentially the setup that the Chiefs have when they're waiting for a home game.
Unreal.
At their hotel, which...
Let me read the overview.
Go ahead. Would you like to rank? Would you like to give the ranking?
Yes, I'll read it. I'm reading this from the NFLPA website where this did come out. Overall ranking, 26th out of 32 teams. Overview: the Kansas City Chiefs ranked 26th this season, but have made significant strides in multiple areas. They improved their family offerings by introducing stadium daycare for day games, resulting in a notable boost in their grade. That's great. This offseason, the team invested in a new full-time dietitian who was previously with the New York Jets. Awesome. This led to an improved food program grade and a dramatic increase in their nutrition/dietitian score from an F last year to an A- this year. Look, not having one to having one would be big, huge. Yeah. No matter.
Would you like a fridge?
Right.
Yeah.
Players continue to express their need for renovations and upgrades to the locker room, which has been their top complaint in prior surveys. Player also want a new home game hotel, since the one the team currently uses ranks the lowest in the league. Ranking. Let me run through these ranking breakdowns real quick. The treatment of families is B-, it's 15th. Food and dining area is B, that's 16th. Nutrition dietitian is A-, as mentioned previous, 5th in the league. Shout out to their dietitian. Locker room D-, that's 28th in the league, and that's the locker room at the training facility. By the way, I should mention,
not Arrowhead,
not the Arrowhead one.
Yes.
Training room C-, that's 29th in the league. Training staff is C, 28th in the league. Weight room C+, 30th in the league. Strength coaches B, 24th in the league. Team travel B, 21st in the league. Head coach A+, that's 4th in the league. No surprise there. Ownership C-, 26th in the league. Great improvement from last year's F.
F-.
That's
F-.
right. F-.
Okay. That kills me. Like, all right, so let's
get to it.
Here's the thing about this. That if you're the Chiefs, you somehow feel better about yourselves because you got 0 Fs or F minuses.
They didn't get any Fs. Yeah, that's a good point.
They got 0 Fs because last year's grades, they had 3 Fs and an F minus.
That's right.
Yeah. They had an F in a dietitian and nutritionist.
Right.
F in locker room, F in training staff, F minus in ownership. They won the Super Bowl and gave their owner an F minus.
Wow.
And then this year we're like, listen, like we were like given a dietitian and stuff, so Clark's moving up the ladder.
Steps
here.
in the right direction.
C minus,
uh-huh.
Which somehow is like if your kid has failed like multiple times in math because they're not doing their homework,
right?
And then they just like turn in a worksheet and you're like, hey, all right,
good job.
Clark basically turned in a worksheet.
Right.
Is essentially what we're driving at here. The thing that sticks out the most. Oh, they got some good grades. Like head coach A+.
Yeah, I don't think that's a shock there.
No,
everyone loves Andy.
No, right? Like they got an A- now, a nutritionist and dietitian, as you mentioned.
Great, yes.
They have some mediocre grade, B minus stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
What really hurts them is their training room gets a C minus.
Yeah.
Because they feel like they don't have enough hot tub space, cold tub space. They don't have enough full-time physical therapists. Feels like that's a thing you might want to invest in. I don't know. The National Football League. Might want to give that a shot. Training staff, they gave a C. Weight room, C+. They feel like they don't have enough space to train. So there's that. But here's the whopper, which is ironically part of a B grade in travel, which I guess means that they're pretty happy with when they go on the road.
Their guest accommodations.
So here's the note, verbatim, in the report card. Players say their home game hotel is below standard. They report that it is outdated, the beds are uncomfortable, and many players even keep their shoes on in their rooms because the floors, especially in the bathroom, are dirty and sticky. Leftover trash from previous occupants is also a common issue. It's no surprise the Chiefs' home game hotel scored the lowest across the entire NFL. This is a team that went 10-0 at Arrowhead Stadium this year.
Oh, that's true.
And was basically sleeping outside before the games. And maybe that would have been more comfortable because at least wouldn't stick to the ground. Here's my thing. There's no way the Clark Hunt was eating lunch this afternoon, opened this bad boy up, was like, oh, no idea. Like, there's no world. And if that is true, then that's massive malpractice.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
he didn't know it was coming down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's no world that you could convince me that he didn't know that guys are like, listen, I'm going to sleep with my clothes on and my shoes on. Okay. Like, I might have to take off running, or just I might never be able to unstick from the bathroom floor if I have to go in there and use the bathroom. So if you're not going to invest in a better hotel or force that hotel to clean up its act, here's an idea. These guys are grown adults. Like, they got alarm clocks and stuff. They're built right in the phones now.
They do.
I'm thinking maybe just let them stay home and come to the stadium from there. Like, guys aren't commuting from San Diego.
That's a great point.
I think they'll make it. I think they can get themselves there. Or like get a better hotel.
Yeah.
Like, what is it, a budgetary issue? Or are they just like, listen, the Radisson's too far. Okay, we can't. Please. Think of how we're going to be able. Like, we can't have a dietitian and a hotel that you can take your shoes off in. I mean, like, what are we doing here if you're the Chiefs? That's great. That to me is just absolutely bonkers.
But Matt, they've won Super Bowls, so it must not be that big of an issue.
Maybe that's the problem. Like, they go to these Super Bowls and they don't play well early on. Maybe they're too
comfortable.
They're too.
They need to be out of the comfort zone.
Stop taking your shoes off the hotel.
Yeah, leave them on.
Maybe the Chiefs. That's why they're so good at home. They're so desperate to get out of the hotel that they're like, we'll do anything, please. We'll play without pads, whatever it takes, anything to get out of the beds. I mean,
it's a mind game.
That's a disaster.
Yeah, I like that spin zone, that it is a mind game. I also thought it was interesting with the weight room. They said the players feel their weight room equipment is good quality, ranking them 28 out of 32 teams. Players feel like they do not have enough space to train in their weight room, ranking 30 out of 32. Look, and I know that a lot of players, like, they do work out there at the facility, right? But a lot of the working out happens outside of the facility, I think, for a lot of these guys.
Right.
So it's not like an end-all, be-all. And these aren't college facilities. I think sometimes college facilities
is nicer than a lot of times the NFL because they got to recruit guys.
1,000%. And I think that kind of skews public's perception of weight rooms and like what all these facilities
These
should
guys
be
come from
like.
LSU and they're like, what happened?
Right.
Well, we drafted you. You're here. We don't need to convince you to stay.
Right. So it's one of those where I do think that like public perception is skewed like that. A lot of that does happen on their own. Like you look at the gym that Patrick Mahomes put in his house.
You're right. He's not coming in to lift weights at the facility. Right. But now here are some other teams that also got grades.
Let's bury. I see what team you've pulled up. Right, I want to bury this.
The Bengals somehow ranked above the Chiefs in totality.
That's wild.
24th out of 26. But their treatment of families got an F-, and the notes are as follows. The Bengals are one of only 3 teams that do not offer daycare during home games, and one of only 10 teams that do not offer a family room during home games.
That's wild.
The Bengals are the, in bold, only team in the NFL that fails to offer one of these 2 benefits. Mike Brown is like, look, if we're going to pay T. Higgins, we can't have a babysitter too, boys. Can't do it.
You got to figure it out. You guys got to figure it out.
We're going to put the kids up in Section 308, and we're going to hope for the best.
Just rope it off.
Yeah, we're going to put a couple ushers up there. It'd be fine. We'll throw peanuts at them. So really, really well done there by the Bengals. And then the dining area also gets an F, ranking 32 out of 32. The Bengals players, I love how this is a great adjective. Mm-hmm. The Bengals players wish that, as if there's no chance it will happen, the Bengals players wish that more meals will be provided throughout the week. The team does not provide 3 meals a day. It's prison, apparently. Although I think in prison you get 3 meals a day.
You get 3 in prison,
so it's not even prison. 3 meals a day. It is one of only 2 teams in the league that do not do so. That said, food is an area around which the team has continued to improve. Last year, the Bengals began offering dinner on Wednesdays, and this year they began offering breakfast for players who come into the facility on their off day for additional training and work. Happy days.
Yeah.
And so, hey, listen, guys, don't bring the kids.
Yeah.
Don't bring the family.
No.
Please do bring a sandwich.
Yeah, bring your own lunch, please.
Because we do not have the guaranteed money.
Joe Burrow has bled us dry.
At this point, Mike Brown's about to pass the hat at the stadium.
What can Paycor put their name on now?
Can we sponsor the cafeteria?
Right.
Is anyone willing to give us $25K? I mean, and then to stay in the state of Ohio.
Yes. Oh, please.
Because this is my favorite.
We might have to whisper. They're right across the street.
Don't care. Doesn't matter. They know what they did.
That's fine.
So they're 30th out of 32 teams. I feel like somehow it's a victory for the Browns.
Oh, yeah.
So the locker room gets an F-.
Nice.
And yet somehow that's not the funniest thing in here. This is my favorite. This is, of all the things I've read, this is my favorite one. Treatment of families, D+. The Browns provide daycare on game day, already ahead of the Bengals. Good.
Shout out.
Yeah. They are only one of 10 teams, however, that do not offer a family room during home games. So apparently the state of Ohio is very anti-family.
No families.
No, very, very anti.
Get out of here.
But this is the best. The players believe that the coaches' families are treated better than players' families. For example, the coaches' families have a post-game meetup inside the stadium, while the players' families meet in a tent in the parking lot. That is just it's fucking Cleveland. Like in December.
Yeah.
Hey guys, listen, your family. Get out there quickly. They're getting frostbite.
Right.
Okay.
Think they put heaters out there? Or you think it's just a straight up wind tent?
Is it a tent with flaps?
Ooh.
Or is it just like a pavilion? Like it's like a circus tent, which would kind of fit the team.
Yeah.
Is it more of a circus tent? To put them outside.
Yeah.
Your stadium's not even that old.
No.
Like you don't have anywhere to just, hey, we can house them here. Nope. No chance. Oh my God. It's just like, it's unbelievable that this is the NFL in 2025. That's all right. Yeah. Here's a tent. It would be more economical to just bring them inside and not have to rent the tent.
That is actually true. You would save money on tent space. on tent rentals.
Show, man.
I do think it is funny. Like I realize when we're having these conversations, it's like millionaires versus billionaires, right? But it is, to put in perspective, just of like, yeah, these players are making a lot of money, but like sometimes the circumstances aren't ideal,
right?
And again, obviously, when it comes with the situation and everything like that, like, right, like, would I like to be in that situation? Sure. But like comparatively to the rest of the league, I do think it is interesting when these report cards come out. I think it's a good idea the NFLPA started this.
I agree.
I think it is a very productive thing. And you have seen, as I read in the overview, that the Chiefs have made improvements, however marginal they have been.
Yes.
Improvements have been made. They now have chairs with backs on them in the locker room. That's exciting.
And and unlike at their hotel, they don't stick to them.
Right.
So that's good news. It's got to be unnerving to go into a bathroom in a hotel and be like, I don't know if I can take my next step because I may have to bring up a floor tile with me.
Yeah.
My favorite part of this is I can't help myself. I picture these owners that get bad grades reading them. And I feel like there's one of two responses. It's either like Woody Johnson, who was ranked 32nd out of 32nd, just being like, and just like moving on this day and not caring at all.
Right.
Or it's like Mike Brown reading like the food thing
and
just like really quietly picking up the phone. And I don't mean a cell phone. I mean like a rotary phone.
Oh, yeah. And because
he hasn't paid to update the phone.
Right.
Yes. He's just, clicking it off, Hey, is this Jimmy Dean? Yeah. Can we get a bulk rate on the breakfast sandwiches? Because we're gonna, I gotta look to invest
we gotta do breakfast on Thursday now too.
And how would you feel about potentially sponsoring the cafeteria?
Right.
Can we cut a deal? You sponsor it, and I won't charge you, but you have to stock the cafeteria.
Right.
All right. And we'll make sure to just slide that in. Like when we have a preseason game, we'll rip up the Bengals end zones, and it'll just be Jimmy Dean.
Yeah.
Jimmy Dean red zone.
Wow. How long do you think that happens before we see advertisements on the field? We've obviously seen it in NBA, and we've seen it, hockey's been doing it for a long time with the advertisements just like on the boards. And now they're like projected onto the ice in some instances for hockey. How long do you think it is before a Mike Brown is like, hey, how I can make a little bit more money if I just put Jimmy Dean in our end zone?
What if we dressed Zach Taylor up as a Jimmy Dean sausage throughout the game? Like, could we do that and get some extra money out of this? Hey, Zach, listen. Don't worry about any team-related gear.
Right.
We're gonna dress up like a breakfast sandwich.
What the NCAA coaches do? I don't know if you see this a lot of times in universities. They're sponsored by like I don't know, like what Missouri does this too with their head coach. Their head basketball coach is like the something family Missouri men's basketball coach.
Okay.
So like you could have a donor basically say like, this is the for sake of a name, let's just say like, the Bill and Melinda Gates. Yeah, the Roto-Rooter Cincinnati Bengals head coach. Bill and Melinda Gates was a wild one for me to pull out there.
Yeah.
But they're not together anymore.
$1 out of them.
They're also not together anymore.
Oh, I didn't know. I had no idea.
Sorry
I'm not keeping up on it.
Love is dead anyway.
Tragic.
But, yeah. So like that's what's something that maybe they can do. I don't think the NFL needs any of our ideas for how to get more money. It seems like they're doing pretty good on their own.
Yeah.
Truthfully.
I also don't think they're going to turn down ideas though.
What if I write a letter? Number one, what happened to writing letters? People used to do that all the time.
It's true.
I'll
tell you what happened.
Postal service?
Yeah, well, yeah, that happened too. But like, the old computer kind of got in the way of that bad boy.
When I was a kid, I wrote a letter to Roger Goodell because I had an idea for an expansion team.
Oh,
and I drew the uniforms out. I drew like all the names.
Was
and
it
everything.
the Jets?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
I think it was something with sharks. I don't remember where it was.
Okay.
But sharks are sick, Sharks are cool. Yeah. So I drew it all out on colored pencil and everything, drew the helmet and everything, emailed it, or I didn't email it, I mailed it in. And I remember I got like a packet back from like NFL. And I was like, this is so sick. It's a signed picture of Roger Goodell.
Oh, yeah, really?
Yeah, I got a signed picture of Roger Goodell.
When I see him at the owners' meetings, I'm absolutely going to ask him about it. Like, did you actually sign this? Like, no, zero. That makes it so funny.
I thought it was so sick that maybe I should do that again.
By the way, I know
as a
we're
bit on Twitter. Yeah, I see. I've been seeing this come across your screen.
So,
let's hit on this before we get out of here.
I was gonna say so we're having a source off, which
I love a good old fashioned source off, man.
Who doesn't? And especially while we're here, while they're all here, maybe we'll get a fist fight at prime tonight.
Oh yes.
So Jordan Schultz of Fox Sports, I will quote him exactly on Twitter, on X, whatever.
No, Twitter. Don't.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a disgrace. Sources: Raiders minority owner Tom Brady recently hosted Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford at his home in Montana, where they spent time together and went skiing. Brady has, I know, just a visual of that Brady in like just one of those like unitards just slaloming down.
Wild detail. Thanks, Jordan, for
that. Brady has been actively trying to convince Stafford to join the Raiders, and discussions are ongoing.
Okay.
Several teams are interested in Stafford. If the Rams decide to move him, with Las Vegas believed to be the most aggressive suitor.
Interesting.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
That came out maybe, well, actually, I'll tell you, 39 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Okay, as of the time of this recording. So that comes out. Then that's on the heels, by the way, of Diana Rossini of The Athletic, who this morning, 4 hours ago, according to this tweet, Matthew Stafford's exploration of his market value the last few weeks has indeed attracted significant interest from teams, notably the Raiders and the Giants, per sources. Teams are anticipating the Rams will now be driving up the asking price if they decide to move them. And of course, you would when teams that are as well run as the Raiders and the Giants are involved and unbelievably desperate.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's Diana's. And then there's been reports since that the Giants have actually met with Stafford or his reps, I should say, down here in Indy. So then we get to where the source off comes into play. Let's go. Because Ian Rappaport, of course, of NFL Network, comes into the fold here. And if I can find this tweet, because here we go. This is from 5 minutes ago. So this is like 34 minutes after Jordan Schultz. Raiders minority owner Tom Brady and Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford ran into each other at a ski resort in Montana, sources say.
Interesting.
Yeah, we're going to get that in a minute. The meeting, unplanned, was not extensive or in-depth and did not include Brady hosting or recruiting Stafford, despite reports saying otherwise. Now, listen. I know Jordan a little bit.
Yeah.
Wouldn't say we're friends, but we're acquaintances. We see each other. Hey, how you doing? What's going on? We know each other a little bit.
Yeah.
Ian, we know each other by face. Hey, how are you? Yeah, whatever. I got to tell you, kind of Team Schultz on this one.
Interesting.
Yep.
Okay.
You're going to tell me that these two guys just ran into each other on the lift in Montana.
On a random ski resort in Montana.
I mean, this feels like a, hey, we're going to get hit with a tampering charge.
Yeah.
We did this in like January. And it's going to come to light because God knows somebody's got a picture of it.
Right.
So this was unplanned. We didn't speak to each other. We sat on the lift together and said nothing. Hey, do you also play quarterback in the NFL?
Interesting.
I do. Do you have a Super Bowl? Yeah, I also have a Super Bowl ring. Let's hey guys, let's look. Yeah, okay. I mean, you're going to tell me that those guys in Montana, it wasn't like they were in Aspen.
That's true.
Just happened to. Who do I see here?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. I mean, come on.
That feels like the Rappaport tweet feels like to me. Tom Brady made a call.
Oh yeah. Yes, big time.
He said, "Please, I need help."
Yeah, Ian was like, "I will tweet this, but
yes,
I am going to need some future assurances." And I'm not criticizing Ian. That's the way the sausage is made, man.
That is the game.
That's the game. I'm not getting on it. Ian's doing what he's got to do.
Yep.
And I understand that. Okay.
Yep.
I mean, certainly nowhere on the level of Ian. I have been on the end of those phone calls. Hey, man. And then you've got to decide, like, all right, is this worth tweeting or not?
Right,
okay,
right.
And if we're right, and he got a call from like Tom Brady, it's probably worth.
Yeah, it's probably worth it.
Right?
Yeah.
But I love a good old fashioned source off, and I'm Team Schultz on this one. The idea that those guys just, I was at an Outback last night and ran into Raj. I got a hard time believing that one.
Yeah, Montana. Well, it could be a very enticing travel destination. Not first on my list for skiing.
No, and also just like, come on. Like, think about, too, the size of our ski resort.
Yeah, they're pretty big, yeah.
You just randomly,
pretty big.
We're also on this hill.
Slopes are pretty big, yeah.
Come on, man. Like, I have a hard time believing. Now, wait. All right, so we've also got, Michael Silver, who in full disclosure is a buddy of mine.
Yeah.
I was with last night for a little bit. He quote tweeted Jordan Schultz.
Okay.
From Michael is also with The Athletic. He's been in Sports Illustrated a while now. By great journals. Quote tweets: I have questions. Would this be tampering? If so, did a Fox employee just report that a very visible Fox employee could be in violation of tampering rules? Great question. Didn't even think of the Fox on Fox crime angle of this. Oh my God. Didn't even think about that. That's a great call by Silver. That's why he's the man.
Wow.
That's right. Yeah, because I always think when I think of Schultz, I just think of him as like my. I don't think.
I kind of think of him as Bleacher Report. Is kind of how I always associate him
with the score. Like
he's been at a lot of places.
Jordan.
Yeah. It's just kind of been his own thing though too.
Yes,
it's a part of it. Yeah.
That is hilarious. Now here's a question: does Jordan get a call from somebody up top at Fox and like, hey man, gonna need you to reword that?
Yeah.
Because.
That man up top at Fox might be Tom Brady.
Yeah. Tom's not feeling this. Okay.
Tom Brady might mysteriously find Jordan Schultz's phone number, and he might get a call from an unknown number on his phone.
Yeah, from Henderson, Nevada. Yeah. Hey.
Delete it now.
I gotta tell you, it's a great call though by Silver.
That is.
Oh my God! This is great. This is fantastic.
It's a great way to end the podcast.
Oh,
so.
Good times. This is what the show's all about.
This is what the show's all about. That's what the combine's all about. Right
I can't wait I'm gonna find both of them tonight. I'm gonna find Schultz and Rapp. Big hey.
Let's get him to do an Oklahoma drill.
That's great. Just right outside of high velocity.
Yeah.
Look, guys, we're gonna need you to. We're gonna clear the highway off.
Yeah.
20 paces each way.
Right. Lay down.
Somebody's gonna have to square up.
Yeah, I'll find something in the lobby we can use as a football.
That's right.
Ball security. One guy gets the ball first, the other guy gets the ball second.
Yeah.
And then we do a tiebreaker in the middle.
Can't leave the right lane.
Well, yeah.
There's none of those left lane nonsense.
Well, we're gonna take a lot of people in the bar and just line it.
Line them up.
Yeah, line it. It's like you can't leave. Push them back in if they get close.
Man, that'd be great.
We've got great ideas.
That would be amazing. I'm here for all.
The NFL should listen to our ideas. Even the Oklahoma drill one. I think that one should be on.
That's how they should. I think the XFL actually did this, and somebody got hurt, so they stopped. But that's how they should determine the coin toss beginning of the game.
Oh yeah, wasn't it like they started like the end zone?
Yeah,
and they ran, dropped the ball or something.
Yeah,
out of like a helicopter
some guy
or something.
Immediately got hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, not great.
The old XFL is incredible. So, incredible television.
Yeah.
All right, that's gonna do it for this week's football show. We'll be back. Well, look, we'll be back twice next week. So lucky for you guys, Matt and I will be back talking about, well, God knows what, but we'll figure it out.
In the next couple of days, I'm going to go accidentally and by chance run into some people at the combine.
There you go. Accidentally run into.
It's going to be good. We have a good time. It's going to accidentally find sources. It's going to be amazing.
That'll be awesome. That's going to do it for this week's show. We'll be back next week to tell you more about what happened here in Indianapolis. For Matt Verderame, I'm Tucker Franklin. Thank you to our sponsors, Ben Holiday Bottled and Bond, Bourbon, and Holiday Distillery for making all of this possible. We greatly appreciate them in our quest to talk about football. So we will talk to you guys next week with more on That Football Show.